Joining us now in the studios, the Public Service Commissioner of the Southern District, Dane Maxwell. Commissioner, good to see you, sir.
Good to see you, George. Thank you for having me.
You bet. So tell us what's on your mind down there at the Public Service Commission. You in town meet with the legislature? Or?
No, I qualified yesterday for re-election.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been a busy couple of days. We went in yesterday, got to see the governor, qualified right after him, and of course I've been busy with people calling, congratulating, and starting the campaign up again. It's exciting.
Yeah, it is. It's hard to believe it's rolled around again, but here we are. So what's going on with the Public Service Commission? You know, the thing that we've talked about a lot on the program, as you're well aware, certainly with Commissioner of the Central District, Brett Bailey, and to some extent with Brandon Presley in the Northern District, are these solar incentives.
Right, yeah.
That, as I recall, you did not support.
No, I didn't. Conservative Republican, I just didn't see us having the right to dictate to the power companies to subsidize anybody for anything.
Right.
Energy rates are going to go up this year. And, Biden has put a ton of new taxes on us, and I've heard y'all discuss it. But these taxes are nearly $30 billion of extra taxes on the ratepayers. And this is in all areas of energy. And solar is going to be not in that. But then again, we still are not where I think we should have ratepayers pay for the few people that can put solar on their houses.
Right. But there were some special kick-up in the incentives for homeowners based on their income range, right?
Well, here's the incentive is a flat, I think $3,000 is what they passed. Okay. And then on top of that, you're selling back to the carrier,
the net metering,
the meter, the selling back to the energy company, and then you're making a profit off that as well. But if you look at the systems, and it just doesn't make sense, and you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure this out. If your system lasts 15 to 20 years, you get a lifespan of your system. You're fronting that money and paying it back, even with the incentives that you get. You're not going to pay it off in 15 or 20 years. It's going to be 25 or 30 years before you get your money back.
Right.
So it's not really all it is a feel good. And I get so frustrated at these renewables, and I am pro-renewable, but it's just there's so many lies out there about all this stuff, and it convinces the American people that they've got to do this because it's just good for the environment. At the same time, I'll give you something funny. The other day, somebody showed me a picture of a 3-bay car charger on EVs, and behind it was a diesel generator running it to charge it. It's just ridiculous.
Premature. It's not ready.
It's not ready. Technology's not there.
It doesn't mean that we shouldn't be working on it, developing it, and there's lots of innovation along those lines coming down the pike, but it ain't ready now. We shouldn't be forcing it, right, which is what certainly the federal government is trying to do. I think I recall now, Commissioner, it seems like half of that money had to go to low-income households. Half of the incentives, the state incentive. Is that right?
It is. And how many low-income people can afford to put $25,000, $30,000, $100,000 worth of that on there? And like I said, I'm pro-renewable. I'm just not going to put it on the back of the ratepayers. Yeah. I've invested in every solar project that's been put before that commission that was put together by private investors.
Sure.
And if it doesn't fall back where the ratepayers have got to pay for it, I'll support it because I think we need to invest in it to get the technology where it needs to be. Yeah. Same way with batteries. Batteries are nowhere near that. And you go buy an electric car, you spend $50,000 on it. 3, 4 years, 10 years, you got to pay $25,000, $28,000 in replacing the batteries. There's no good economic sense there.
Well, it's the same thing with the federal credits that were just passed in the Inflation Reduction Act. The average house, I believe, I read the average investment's about $20,000.
Yeah.
To solarize it. and they're going to give you 30% of that, but you still got to come up with
the rest.
A bunch of money, $15,000 essentially, to do that deal, and then you got to wait several years to get your return on that investment.
Well, it infuriates me on a national level that this administration is giving out so much money that we don't have to these car makers and stuff to go like we're going 100% EV by 2030. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's never going to happen.
Yeah.
You're not going to see that. It's all a lie, and they're just spending all this money. And if you look, GM's, Ford, their CEOs, they're not going to turn down that money.
No.
Yeah, we'll be all electric by 2035.
So
It'll never happen.
It's financial coercion is essentially it's bribing, if you want to be honest.
I know
about
it is. It is, and that's why I want to continue what we're doing, and that's trying to stop some of that craziness here in our state. That's what I can do to stop it. And then there's a lot of projects that I've worked on with the broadband and moved it to it on its own, and now we're doing that to robocaller and telemarketers, trying to fix it and not just say we are.
Yeah. Well, in along those lines, how are those projects going, the broadband rollout?
Broadband rollout's great. Sally Doty, executive director, she's doing such a great job.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I think that job was just meant for her. She came in well prepared with a lot of knowledge, and she has just grabbed it by the horns and took it. And I'm so proud of her and all the great things that she's doing, because it is really expanding that out to a lot of rural areas. In fact, tomorrow I'll be down in Dixie Electric's area, and they signed up their 10,000th
Wow.
customer, and they didn't even have internet broadband then.
Yeah.
And so it's good to see that in such a short time come out.
Yeah. Well, everybody, your peers, your colleagues are certainly reporting that as well in the central, in the northern district, that many of the co-ops have embraced that, and they're busy installing. So, and lots of folks are getting lit up and connected.
Yeah, and it's great. And we're like on the call, no call. Look, and I had some good conversation with the governor, lieutenant governor, over the last couple of years about this, pushing towards trying to reorganize that to the right place. The Public Service Commission, it's not staffed to take in 65,000 calls, as was reported the other day. Now, 65,000 calls this year for no call was simply the ones that we got in and worked. You know, there's always 100
that you don't know about.
100,000 or 100 times more that we don't know about. And so it's an overwhelming problem. I don't know what the fix is, but we're going to try to work through the legislature this year to get it done. Yeah,
I know the folks would like to see something happen there. From my perspective, just anecdotally, it does seem like that it's calmed down. It's been reduced.
Yeah.
I've signed up for no call as well. I don't feel like I'm getting the number that I was before that.
Yeah.
I think we've seen a decline. Is that kind of what you're hearing as well?
It comes in spurts.
Okay.
Like I've had right before the holidays, I had a lull in my calls, and right before the holidays, it just blew out of sign. And then on top of that, the text messages, that started coming in too. So
seeing more of that.
Crazy times.
Anything that you're going to be talking to the legislature about that you think you need from your orbit?
Yes, one, certainly the no call is priority on our list. Also, we've talked about going back to our core functions on trying to work on the utility side with cybersecurity, number one. And I think you're going to see us work and get ourselves injected more into the economic development side, which we did that. I did that in the Southern District in about 7 big economic development projects where I was able to go in and help them lay out their foundation for utilities way, way, way ahead of schedule by just eliminating the red tape and getting it moved through the process. The other 2 commissioners doing the same thing. They're doing a great job, too. I think we've turned a lot of things around there. But we've got to get a hold on some of these things that's overwhelming us, such as a no call. And I think you're going to see that happen. And I think we're going to also talk about some of the other things like utility theft and grid security, simply because of all these utilities that are getting hit in these substations. And that's a priority for us as well, because we want to make sure that all of ours are protected.
Okay. Yeah, well, I think that's prudent, because you're right. We're seeing more activity in that arena where the malicious cyber guys are taking target to utilities, and they're prime targets. And
bad guys.
Yeah, and they're good.
And they're good.
Yeah,
we got to catch them.
Commissioner, appreciate you coming on and giving us an update. Congratulations on qualifying for re-election, and
thank you, sir.
Good luck on the campaign trail. I'm sure we'll be talking soon.
I appreciate you having me.
Take care.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Dane Maxwell, he's the Public Service Commissioner for Mississippi's Southern District. MidDays is coming right back.